So Reema, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your background? Who are you? Who is Reema?
So Reema belongs to a very traditional middle-class family back from our hometown, which is Chandigarh. I think most of the viewers would know that, but it's a town in the north of India, about 300 kilometers north of Delhi. I used to be very good in studies, and then I went on to graduate from IIT Delhi and moved on to IIM Bangalore after that.
Getting into IIT and IIM, that's like the dream combo, right? What are the three qualities of Reema that cause the success in education?
Hard work, and hard work. I think that's what you need to qualify for these entrance exams, which are obviously the toughest. To be in the 0.1% people cracking ITJE or CAT is a lot of hard work. Obviously, it is intellect. You have to be smart enough to crack such exams on the go. I wouldn't say that I did not study. I mugged a lot. I went to all the coaching classes possible for ITJE, as you would do with physics, chemistry, and maths. But I think beyond that was that determination, that hard work, and that those efforts and the hours I had put in to crack those exams.
Sounds awesome. When you go into an IIT, when you go into an IIM, you're dealing with the people who are the best of the best, right? Because you're among peers who are best of the best. So you have to even challenge yourself even more than what you were doing before. How was that experience?
Amazing experience, and I think you get to learn a lot. So you can look around people with you, and everybody is super talented, super smart, and super ambitious, and wants to make it big in life. And that was my first year at IIT Delhi, and then I was like, oh wow, there are people who study hard but also are very good at dancing, for example. So they are multi-talented, and I think all I was doing in those years of learning was making good friends, building relationships, and taking inspiration from them. So that even if I could learn one good quality from a friend, then why not? That's what I took away from all the years at IIT and IIMs.
Sounds awesome. Why do all engineers pursue IIM? Why do people do engineering and then go for IIM?
I think once you do engineering, you do realize that maybe if you do an MBA, you can contribute to the business and the economic world in a better way. That's the ambition an MBA gives you, right? So they tell you how to deal in the corporate world. Whether it's finance, it's marketing. Having that basic knowledge from an institute of excellence, if you have that chance, then why not? And which is why I pursued CAT and MBA.
And I think you're placed in one among the top companies that candidates dream of being placed, if you can elaborate a bit on that.
So after campus, I joined Bain & Company. It is one of the top consulting firms in the world. It was the most amazing learning experience because not only I worked with my teams, I also worked with very, very senior clients. And that's what that's exposure consulting can give it to you. I worked in international teams because I worked in the India office and the London office. So great learning experience in terms of learning analytical skills, team skills, communication skills. And I think the Reema you see today, a lot of that foundation or the building blocks came from there.
Amazing. Being in a consulting firm, I'm sure you dealt with multiple projects, multiple different industries. So it would have put a lot of business learning in perspective, right? What you learned in college, you got to practice it in real life.
Yeah, exactly. I think the beauty of consulting is it doesn't matter what age you are. I think it matters how much analytical skills, how much hard work, and how much research you've done about your client and the industry you're working with. So here I was like a 25-year-old Reema consulting a client who was like 50 years of age, has 25 years of industry experience, but I could stand in front of him and tell him his Excel model is wrong and mine is correct because I've done it the right way. Standing in front of those senior clients with that much of experience, consulting them and giving them an outside perspective of the world was one of the most memorable things for me from consulting.
What is the biggest risk you've taken in your life and how did that pay off?
The biggest risk I've taken in my life is leaving my corporate job to pursue a passion, which is about working with women, and which is where Indian Women in Dubai comes into the picture. We are a community growing every day, more than 55,000 ladies and counting. And leaving that corporate job and a cushiony salary every month to start the social entrepreneurship venture of my own has been the biggest risk, but also the biggest payoff.
Amazing. You're starting into something new. You're doing something which no one has done before. How's that feeling?
Ecstatic and excited, but equally nervous and looking forward to what's coming up. I've always been passionate about telling stories of women and bringing their inspirational side out. And I think this podcast is our step or an initiative in that direction.
Now, IWD, right? Indian Women in Dubai. If you had to go back in time and when you were starting out your career in IWD, what is that one thing that you would tell yourself, Reema, this is what I would do differently?
I would enjoy the journey more and worry less about the results. I think when I was at IIT, I always wanted to get good marks. When I was at IIM, I wanted to get good marks. At Bain, I wanted to be the best consultant. And I think you definitely work hard through those moments, but sometimes you forget the journey. And this is the different thing that I'm trying to do right now. With IWD, I'm consciously trying to enjoy every day as it comes, every event as we do it, every meetup as we do it, every initiative that we take in the direction of women supporting women, because I'm really enjoying the journey and I really don't know what the destination is here.
Sounds great. With IWD, how big is your community? What's the size of it?
We are a community of more than 55,000 women currently as we talk today, supporting each other for social initiatives and business initiatives. We are the Google for Indian Women Dubai. Ask us a question, fire away a doubt, and you will get tried and tested recommendations by the members of the community. So that's how Gulf News covered us. That's how newspapers cover us, that we are your family away from family.
Really kudos to doing what you're doing. I don't think there are many women out there stepping out and doing what you're doing, which is amazing. I want to know the importance of building a community. Clearly, you have built a community and you're someone who's pretty successful at it. Building a community of 55,000 people is not a joke. I want to know how important is building a community for businesses and individuals out there.
Communities are important for everybody, whether you are a part of it or whether you build one, because when you have those tough times, or even if you have good times, you go back to your peer group and your community to celebrate or to look out for help. And that is where communities make a difference. So having a beautiful, supportive, strong, collaborative community, which is what IWD is, we are the home of a lot of women coming forward to share their everyday life, share their wins, their achievements, and also sometimes sharing their worries, and we all come together and support, build that support system to be together and get through it.
I want to know, what's the most impactful story of IWD? Which person has been most impacted through the community?
Lots of them, lots of them. There's no one single story I would point out, but I personally know of women who've grown through the community from 1 bedroom to 2 bedroom to 3 bedroom and are doing 3 times the business that they were doing when they started with us. We work with social and charitable causes. We work with Children of Determination to raise awareness about it. We always have women cancer warriors. We work with them day in and day out, making an impact and raising awareness about these causes so that everybody can come together for that.
You're someone who has been very successful in doing this, and many women look up to you. And I think some women even want to start something what you're doing. What advice would you give to someone who wants to build a successful community like yours?
I would just say follow your passion and stay true to it. If your passion is building a community, you will be successful at it. If your passion is crafting or doing art and drawing, you will be successful at it. If your passion is getting the best deals in the market, you will be successful at it. So whatever your passion is, whether it's dancing, it's music, follow it through and you will find a way around it.
Amazing. Sounds good. You said that you have 55,000 women within this community. Followers, it's an important metric, but is that the best metric to measure the success of a community? If not, what is the best metric?
We think on 2 metrics. One is reach, which is followers, and the other is engagement. We are very proud to say our engagement is actually better than a lot of other platforms. This is the reason we got selected for the Meta Accelerator Community Program run by Facebook in Dubai. Out of 5,000 plus applications, we are one of the very few communities which got through. And we've been working with Meta for the last 6 months to increase the engagement in the reach of the community. So, Facebook has invested their time, energy, and resources in making IWD the best platform there could be for women coming together.
Amazing. Hopefully, more social media companies reach out to you and, they offer you such opportunities. If you can elaborate a bit more on how exactly did you get a social media giant like Facebook, who owns Instagram, to invest their time in you? How did that whole journey take place? They reached out to you, you reached out to them. If you can hit a bit on that point.
So they reached out to us, and I think it just happened by chance. They must have been reviewing all the communities, UAE, Dubai, and they had this program where you could apply for the Meta Accelerator community. And honestly, it was a 3-step process. You had to apply for it. You had an interview round, and they reviewed your answers, and they wanted to make sure they're selecting the right community. Only 4 communities in UAE got through this program, and I'm very proud to say we are one of them, essentially. And we've been put on a 6-month journey with them about learning of how we build positive and constructive communities together with experts brought in by Meta from all over the world.
Amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. Guys, if you're listening, you know what to do. Just follow your passion and hopefully Facebook contacts you in that case. All right. So building the biggest community like of Indian women in UAE must have raised some eyeballs. Some obviously most people are supportive, but you can't win the support of everyone. There are people who would still challenge what you're doing. There are people who would still criticize what you're doing. And how have you addressed all this stuff from your end?
I feel if somebody is either criticizing or imitating or putting us down, then they have their eyes and ears on you. And I think that is one of the best compliments people can give to you, whether they give it negatively, but at least they're following you, they're getting inspired from you. And to a certain extent, they want to be at the place that you are at. So I always take criticism positively in terms of learning what can I do better tomorrow. Every day I will take that one negative comment and say, okay, next event, we're going to do this much better than the last one. And it's just a learning curve, right? You do things and you get better at it. Ignore the negatives and just focus on the positives and the people who want to join on the journey with you.
You mentioned about the podcast, right? What are you calling the podcast?
Our podcast is called Women of Wonder by Reema Mahajan. In short, Wow Women. The whole idea or the whole initiative is to bring forward journeys of empowered and ambitious women so that we can all take inspiration from them. We'll be bringing to you some of the biggest celebrities, biggest women achievers who've done different things over time. And each of them has a journey to share. And each of them has some lessons, something that we can learn from all of them, from the challenges they've faced, from the hard work they've done. And that's what we aim to bring to you.
Oh, amazing. Speaking of guests, if you can give us a sneak peek on some of the guests you have lined up.
You have to wait for our next episode, which is none other than Priya Jethani coming on our show.
Amazing. Any other people who you have lined up, or we'll just have to watch?
I think let some things be a secret. So you have to watch for the next ones.
I have a question. Okay, you mentioned Priya Jethani, and then you said, what is your criteria for choosing the successful women you mentioned on the podcast? What are you looking at? In addition to the points which you mentioned.
I'm looking for self-made women who've worked hard and who've dealt with whatever has come on their face with a cannot die attitude. And sometimes they've changed careers. Sometimes they've found a whole new role in a different industry. And if that is you, I would welcome anybody on this podcast for that.
What impact do you hope the Women of Wonder podcast will have on your listeners? I think you have a lot of women following you on your Instagram and Facebook. If you can elaborate on that.
If we can inspire even one woman who listens to the podcast, takes inspiration from it, goes, follows her dreams. If your dreams is to do X, Y, and Z, if the podcast can inspire you to do that, even if it's one girl who smiles and listens to it, I think we've achieved what we've set out for.
That's crazy. This brings me to a technical question. The page is called Indian Women in Dubai. Are you only going to be interviewing Indian women, or you're going to be bringing in women of all nationalities, all cultures?
We are open to all nationalities and all cultures. It is any wow woman, as we call it. If you are wow, we will have you on our show. We do not distinguish between geographical boundaries or ethnicities or cultures. I think it's an open show for everybody to take inspiration.
That sounds awesome. I'm sure there are women out there who want to be part of your podcast. How can they apply to be part of your podcast?
We're going to leave all these details right up below, and please click on the link and tell us your story. And if your story is really interesting enough for us, we'll make sure we'll give you a quick call.
Amazing. Sounds good. Reema, is there anything else you want to share with the listeners before we wrap up?
I just want every listener to take this as an inspiration, find some commonality between their journey and our guest's journey, and to take it and drive it forward.
That sounds great. Now, where can your listeners follow you on social media for update on future episodes and other projects that you have coming up?
Please follow us on LinkedIn. Please follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. We'll be everywhere with this podcast. So choose the social media platform that you like and you'll find us there.
Perfect. Sounds good, Reema. Pleasure talking to you and looking forward to your upcoming episodes.
I'm excited too.